Hey guys, welcome back to Insomniac's Dream. Today's video is the fourth and final video in my Elemental Mermaid series, so for today's look, I bring you water. First thing I did is lay down what would be my skin tone for this mermaid, and that was by mixing the color Sky from Mehron and the Graftobian Tropic Teal. And then I just applied this over my face, neck, chest, and ears, but I did leave the shoulders blank, mainly because I knew I'd be adding all of the little prosthetic shells that I made later, and I wanted to leave that area clean for all the adhesive. Then taking MadeYewLook's body paint in Neptune, I use this to better define the neck area, as well as add some nice deeper blues to kind of contrast with the light colors I'd already built up. Kind of the idea of like deeper waters, and wanting to just give a little bit more visual interest. And then jumping to the eyes, I find sometimes body paints don't sit over the glue brow blocking method very well, so what I do sometimes is add down a cream color and blend that out. This kind of is now giving a cream base for the shadows to go on top of. You don't have to worry as much that it's completely discolored from the way the body paint is sitting on the glue. And then from there, I'm able to go over with some of my more blue tone shadows. This one I'm using 2 AM from Sugarpill, and start blending out and redefining the eye shape that I want. I also use this around the nose and mouth to, again, bring in more definition. And then I kind of just kept deepening around the forehead and eye shape until it got to the point I wanted. Admittedly, my water mermaid looks a little bit more alien than the others, but I kind of love it. So you, of course, could change this up if you're looking for a little bit of a softer feel. For the eye shape itself, I first used a cut crease concealer and made the shape that I wanted and pulled it up higher, so hopefully more of it would be visible, even though I have more deep set lids. And then I went ahead and used a white concealer mixed with my Makeup Forever aqua color to give a bit more of a minty base so that I could do the mint shadows on top. I was using a Makeup Revolution palette for the colors and kind of went with like softer mint tones into light blues since I wanted this to be kind of a contrast point. And then with the darker blues from the palette, I went across the top of the shape I'd cut out and started blending that color upwards to, again, just better define the exaggerated cut crease I was trying to create. I did feel like since none of my mermaids have had any glitter, water was the time to finally do it. So I did apply a bit of a Lit Cosmetics glitter. This is a rainbow silver metallic, as well as using some of the Chunky unicorn glitter from Shrine. And I applied this all over the lids. I had a little bit of powder there to catch the fallout since I knew it would get absolutely everywhere. And then of course I did a really thick wing liner, kind of a wing liner. I also wanted to mimic the idea of waves, so it has 3 little divots in the design I did. And then I also pulled it out on the inner corners to give a bit of a sharper shape. I did a little bit of black pencil liner on the waterline to connect everything, and then just softened it with some black shadow, and then moved on to doing the water reflection on the forehead. So this is something I've tried before and failed many times, but I feel like I got it this time, and I thank Oflora. I will link her socials down below if you want to check her out. She has done water in the past and does it so beautifully. But I was going for that look of what you see in either tropical waters or a pool. When sun reflects through water, it gives this really nice light refractions. And so to do this, I was just using the MadeYewLook body paint in Yeti. And because it's a really soft body paint for blending, I was able to use it at different opacities. Some being incredibly light, some being darker. And then just looking at numerous pictures of it, I was able to try and mimic the shapes that are kind of just oblong, no rhyme or reason shapes realistically, and you just kind of connect them all and move across the forehead, and that's really all I was doing. I do find where a lot of the shapes meet tend to sometimes be a lot brighter, so at the end you can go back and add a little bit more white to those areas to make them pop. For the cheeks, I defaulted to my love of gill contouring. So I did 3 for my water mermaid, and all you do for this is you take a mid-tone color, so my medium blue color, and then you follow it with a darker blue and then a very thin line of black just along the edges to give it definition. Remember to blend everything in one direction, so in this case downwards, that way the top edge is going to remain clean and give you that illusion of the area underneath being more recessed. For the shoulder pieces, these took a lot of prep work, like a month of casting different latex shells. I'll have a link to the mold I used in the description. It's honestly just like a cake fondant mold for seashells that I filled with latex and gave them a full day to dry, so I was casting throughout like the month of May. And then what I did on my sculpt form is I kind of just pre-made little clusters ahead of time. You don't have to do this. This was just to help save time for me. I do also still apply a ton individually, but anything to help save an application time, definitely useful. And something else I had done, as you can see, a lot of them I pre-painted. I was just using the same body paints that I normally use, so you don't have to use any specific paint. A lot of them just had blue and white and cream tone washes. I kind of wanted to keep everything in a slightly monochromatic feel, but also having those little pops of color with the yellow and sand tones. And then as long as you cast a ton of these ahead of time, you can kind of just play a bit of seashell Tetris on your shoulders and just fill in any gaps where you think they would look good. I'm using Suede adhesive for this. You can see it applies white, and then when it gets to a clear tone, that's when you can use it. And you also want to apply it to both the latex piece you're applying and your shoulder, because it's kind of a contact adhesive, so it works best when it's on both. Once you have everything down where you like it, you just want to go over with a bit of translucent powder and go over any areas where there might still be some sticky adhesive showing. Since I made kind of big areas to apply them, obviously there was exposed Suede, so just putting powder over everything will make sure that it loses any of that residual tackiness. And then this is where I brought more of that Neptune blue back in to kind of blend up to the edge of the little chunks of seashell I had made and softly blend it down. I thought this just created a little bit of nice contrast to the lighter colors in the seashell clusters, and then will also help move into the water reflection that we're gonna do right now. This follows the exact same steps as the forehead, just obviously in an expanded shape. As you guys know, often when I do patterns that repeat from the face to the neck and chest area, I always make them larger. They tend to complement better since you are filling a bigger space. It just kind of visually makes a lot more sense than following the exact same tightness of the shapes that are on my forehead. So highly recommend making them a little bit larger, making those gaps bigger. It just kind of helps fill in space nicer, and it just ends up looking more balanced in the end. Quickly did some last minute painting of some of the seashells that didn't have any pre-painting on them, just to show that you can paint them while they're on your shoulders. It's just a little bit trickier, so it is much easier to do it ahead of time. And then I did some last minute finishing touches, such as adding little drawn in bottom lashes, adding the blue lipstick, and then throwing on the wig and crown that I had made ahead of time. And that was it for my water elemental mermaid and the conclusion of this year's Mermaid series and my first elemental series as well. I really hope you guys enjoyed these looks. I will be working on the fin templates for future videos, so keep an eye out for those. Until then, I'm going to keep moving forward with this editing style, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Thank you very much for all of your feedback. I always love reading all of your comments. I'm excited to hear what you think of this one. I, of course, will see you next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until then, bye guys!